Hey guys, and welcome to a new video. Today, the end of the official day one for me at least, and we are now level, what are we? Level 47 on the Blood Mage Crossbow character right now. And based on the video from yesterday, we started off with spears, going into rake, into stomping ground, and it was like a very rough experience, and it did not really go any better today. They recently made a hotfix where they nerfed the monster life, so I guess pretty much everybody has like the same kind of experience. The game is omega giga hard, and the build that I picked is not really League Start friendly, let's say it like that. I did eventually get through, or yeah, spend quite some time. I mean, come on, we have a playtime of like almost 16 hours, and I just got Act 4. So basically about 5 hours per act, going very slow and steady, really progressing bosses. Some boss kills even took like 5 minutes or something like that. I remember the fat lady in Act 3, for example, or Doriani took a couple of tries. I think I spent like maybe an hour or so trying to get the labyrinth done to get the blood barbs node, which is basically the core of my build. But as of right now, we're not dealing any bleed damage. Reason for that is all the bleed nodes are on the bottom side, needs a lot more levels. So what I did right now is I just took my my crossbow with a bunch of like physical damage and lightning damage, and playing it with just crossbow skills, mainly playing with the galvanic shards on a 3-link with conduction, lightning infusion, and innervate for clearing and like chance to shock, as well as the voltaxic mark for more chance to shock. And once the enemy is shocked, I'm swapping my my attack to the shock burst rounds with primal armament and martial tempo to get increased damage for the shock duration. So in one hand, galvanic shards to shock the enemy, then swap the rounds, and then blast away, and then rinse and repeat until the boss is dead. So let me quickly do a showcase. I probably can go somewhere in the start here in what is the early zones here? Probably Grellwood or something. Maybe we can find, or maybe even the starting zone where, because there is like a small little boss there. Should be Clearfell. As I said, this is basically what I've been doing in the past like couple minutes, so you just have an overview. It's basically just a crossbow build as of right now. All we are doing is galvanic shards into shock burst rounds. So here's an essence monster. Let's test it over here. So we're using this, getting my voltaxic mark, trying to get a shock, then swap the rounds, empower the shot, and then just use the galvanic shards. Here is a better example, and the boss is dead. The damage is on the okay side now. It's nothing special whatsoever. I'm just saying that the first 3 acts were absolutely terrible. Like, as I said, some boss kills took a couple of minutes, and as soon as I could, I think it was like level 38, I made a transition from the spears into crossbow. Still playing on my League starter, basically. But it's rough, man. It's so freaking rough. I don't want to get like too much influenced by people in chat or what other people say, because they're... Dude, I just opened Discord and people are like, yo, I quit, shit game, it's so hard, it's this, is that. I just try to not get influenced and just trying to get my character through the campaign, but I have to say myself, it is very hard, and I feel like I'm an experienced Path of Exile player, coming from Path of Exile 1, also having like almost like 650 hours in the PoE 2 in the early access, the first edition, but the power spike that we had was insane back in the days. And I even would say, I remember a slight little bit in the start of the early access on my SS Drain character. It was also very rough. But I feel like it's kind of the same or even harder right now, even though I have more experience in the game right now. But yeah, I think it's just like, you know, stick through and just try to get into maps, try to farm some currency, try to get some mandatory items, levels, ascendancy points, and so on and so forth, and then convert into a bleed crossbow character, which is originally planned, but as of right now, there is just no way to make this possible based on the lack of skill points. But as you see, Galvanic Shards is doing quite a good job. Here is a little boss here, so here's the same thing, Voltaxic Mark, then trying to get a shock on, switch rounds, empowered rounds, and then we fire away. Should do the combo a little bit faster because my shock is not lasting long enough. So here is a shock, and then shock burst rounds. As you see, damage is there, but it's, yeah, nothing too crazy about it though. So let's dodge this, clear up the monsters, try to get another shock on, swap rounds, and get the damage gone. Try to dodge that. Holy shit, dude. I really need to get better at dodging stuff. Or I just need to make the character a lot more tanky at some point, because my gear is still very, very, very questionable, because it's more or less like solo self-found, right? I did buy a bow, or at least a crossbow, because I didn't find a good one yet. But the rest is literally solo self-found kind of like stuff. And yeah, that's why the game is also like quite hard, right? This is the typical scenario that you have in a league start scenario, as you should probably do. And that's why I don't really understand the kind of like vision of Path of Exile or grinding your games at this point, because it feels like the game starts out very, very, very hard and is very hard through the campaign. And I guess once you have like some decent gear, some decent stats, I have no idea about mapping yet, how hard it is. But I could see that the game is eventually becoming easier over time, just because you have access to your skills or your setups and stuff like that. Because I'm really waiting for the start of Act 2, where I get a level 13 skill gem to get Plasma Burst going, to try to like one-shot bosses at this point. So let me go over the gear real quick, because the path of building is not updated yet. I cannot import or anything. So basically, let me quickly go over my skills, what I'm using here. As I said, Shock Burst rounds, Primal Armament, Martial Tempo, Galvanic Shards with Conduction, Lightning Infusion, Innervate. Forget about all the rest. Still using Herald of Blood for no reason, really, because I'm not dealing any bleeds. I opted in the Herald of Thunder now. Emergency reload with premeditation and persistence, and the voltaic mark, basically. Based on the skill tree, this is what I have right now. Basically, what I try to do is pick up every single node that has some form of like lightning damage, shock chance, shock magnitude, whatsoever. Here with Echoing Thunder, here with Wild Storm, Exposed to the Storm, here all electric amplification, power conduction, pure power, all these like nodes that somewhat give me some damage. And currently I'm trying to go for this cluster over here for my next like 10 levels. These skill points are not really optimal whatsoever, but you know, if I want to go for a bleed version, I kind of need to go down here where there's the bleed nodes, and just thinking how many levels I need to just travel where I'm not getting any damage. I thought it's just a better idea to just stack as much lightning damage as I can and just try to get through the campaign with my Galvanic Shards and Shock Burst rounds combo. Based on the gear, as I said, any crossbow, high physical damage, lightning damage, with some runes in there for flat lightning damage. The rest is like solo self-found, Devouring Diadem. I mean, it heals me, consumes corpses, haven't found anything better yet. The amulet is not bad with some accuracy, life, projectile skills. So I think about this for 10 exalts, just with life and projectiles. Then a regal did slammed some exalts, just YOLO, because I was mad, and this is the outcome, still pretty trash. Rings I had just laying around, just like some chaos resistance, because I was stuck on the Viper boss. Then gloves, I mean, just some lightning damage. Anything life resistance, as I said, it's all solo self-found gear, more or self-found gear, besides the amulet that I bought and the crossbow. The rest, as I said, pretty much sucks. I don't even know what jewel I have here. Attack speed, lightning pen. It's actually not even bad. I should probably regal that, because I was still using that with my spears. Let's see what we get. Attack speed with crossbows. If we slam that, we get attack damage. So that's, I mean, that is a pretty good jewel now. Attack speed, attack damage, lightning pen, attack speed with crossbows. I guess that's not bad. Self-crafted, by the way. But yeah, this is basically all I can say for the current state of the art. Is really hard. Sometimes I'm thinking like, should I maybe do something else or play something else? But when I get like the feedback of chat, like they're playing all kinds of builds, I think the most positive feedback that I got so far was from Essence Drain, Contagion, Lich. That it's not like too bad after the buffs, but I feel like, you know, looking at my gear and, you know, hearing from other people what they play, and they're also like super stuck. A lot of people already quit the game just because they're stuck, and I personally, as I said, don't really see the point of making the campaign that hard, because, as I said, I have played PoE previously, and if somebody's completely new to the game, even like experienced players are kind of like stuck, and that's kind of crazy to me how somebody at GGG would think this might be a good plan. But There is still hope. As I said, for tomorrow, the plan is to finish the campaign in the best case scenario, and then try to revamp the character. Once I have like higher level, I need to do a PUB just to see if I remove all of these points, because pure power is like a very good node for intelligence stacking, what we would do later on with increased lightning damage, but only if you have like 50 intelligence. That is like 10% increased lightning damage. So all of these points, it's some form of damage, but you know, I could technically just see how far we can go and maybe picking up some bleed nodes along the way. But the problem is it costs a lot of gold to respec, and if it doesn't work out, then I cannot go back, and this is like some kind of like thing that is to think about. At the moment it works, so I think I'm just gonna keep on going the way it is. Can't wait for Act 5 in the start, where I get the level 13 gems for the Plasma Burst, to see how much damage that is doing. And yeah, then just go with the flow and try to get some upgrades along the way. I kind of feel like at the moment you kind of have to buy upgrades on PoE trade to just finish the campaign. This is something that I think I haven't done in the previous iteration of 0.1. Could be, could not be, but as I said, this is like another factor where you would say, hey, if you rely on trade to actually get through the campaign, there's like a big question mark for me. Alright guys, enough ranting, time for more grinding, time for more updates in the upcoming days, and let's see how things gonna turn out on this character. Alright guys, thanks for tuning in, thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.